Welcome to Life Expressions. I'm your host, Chari Hineti Elon. Today is very special because I'm going to talk to my colleague at Variety, the children's charity of BC, who is very positive. I find her very positive and very encouraging. But before that, I would like to invite you to grab my first book entitled Wisdom Bites: Real Stories and Learnings. I'm inviting you to read this. It's such a short and enjoyable read about my personal experiences, and you'd get nuggets of wisdom from the book. It is very short and such an enjoyable read. It's now available on Amazon. And there you go. This is the hard copy. So you can order on Amazon.com or Amazon.ca. Back to Life Expressions. My guest is no less than Kitty Au. With over a decade of international fundraising experience, specializing in formulating philanthropic strategies, engaging communities with charitable projects, and developing resources for missions with purposes and positive impacts, Kitty is currently the philanthropy officer of Variety, the children's charity of British Columbia. Her role is to enhance a reliable and consistent source of funding to help families with children who have complex health needs to access critical support to thrive and reach their potential. Today, we will chat about how we can cope with twists and turns and acquire a life with purpose. Welcome to Life Expressions, Kitty.
Thank you for having me, Cherry.
It's my pleasure and honor to have you here on the podcast. Finally, we found time to talk on the podcast. Glad to have my colleague with me.
Thank you
Kitty,
for having me.
of course. How did you find your way to fundraising?
It's a very interesting journey, Cherry, because as you've just shared with your audience here, I'm an average student in SFU, and I graduate with a business degree and joined with communication as a second major. So there are lots of possibilities ahead of my time when I graduated, but I just happened to graduate at a time when the economic is downturning and there are limited job opportunities out there. And I gained quite a number of co-op experience during my student life. So I work in the CRA, I work in the broadcasting industry, I also work in a like an event planner coordinator in Burnaby Heights. So I've high ranges of experience, but it doesn't really put me anywhere until one day someone just dropped me a message and say like, we would love you, but this is something that you've never done it before. We want to put you in the social service industry. And that's how I started to become in the nonprofit industry and get to know what the great cause of work these organizations do. And I love it. And I eventually put myself out there and become a fundraiser and just to make sure that, they have the consistent fundings so that they can run these good causes and help the people in need.
Yes, that's great. And so, how did you find Variety, or how did Variety find you?
I was in a transition at a point that like I need to look for a new job. And I reached out to one of the HR specialists in town. And just even before I know about the job description or the role, he's like, you know what? I think you are perfect for this role in Variety. And he tells me all the great stuff about what Variety does for the kids who are struggling with their healthcare challenges. I fall in love with Variety already, and I will be there.
Yeah, same here. Like I fell in love with Variety and I continue to love what we do because it is such a meaningful job with a wonderful cause to help kids with disabilities and complex health needs. And each child that we help, we also help the family and the community. So how about you, Kitty? What inspires you to continue to pursue this path and to continue to do great at what you do?
Make a little difference to the child's life, but it helps them to step up and reach their full potential. And just like I haven't been a parent yet, but I can imagine how much it would bring joy and hope to a family when you see a child that can actually do more from what they are struggling right now.
Yeah. Kitty, you have found your life's purpose. First, what is your purpose?
Maybe because I'm from a very traditional parents or culture, we're just like, oh, this is the best for the child, and then this is how your life should be, and everything is planned. But when I see this, it's like, well, as a child, or when I was a very rebellious teenager, or
Ooh,
you, I do not like how things were planned by my parents. I would challenge them and say, like, I want to do it in a different way. Can I? And then like by exploring outside the outside world, I would gradually know what's important to me and what is not. And that's how I find my purpose. So I would say my purpose of life would keep changing, but for now, what I am really looking forward to is like while having um an enjoyable life of like keeping myself healthy, keeping my family and people who love me healthy and good and in good care. It's like helping people who are in need in my community and making a difference. In small, like it doesn't mean like I have to change the world, right, or become a politician or leader, but just small little things that we can see in life and we can just make that better. That's already a purpose.
that is true. One child at a time, one person at a time. Every little thing you do makes a difference. I would agree with that, Kitty. But what motivates you to keep on doing it?
Um, that's a great question. What else? What should I do? Right? Like, if we are just all living without a purpose, we are just like, I mean, like, not everybody has an equal chance, or an equal opportunity. Some people may be having more privilege than the others. We should show gratitude of what we are having, and when you have everything that you think you have, then think about how we can give back, and that's where the purpose is coming from. And of course, if you are already struggling, and the purpose is definitely trying to help yourself and improve your life, right? And then that's how you can make sure the world is more harmonic
Yeah.
instead of like just pursuing something that if you don't have a purpose in life, what's the purpose, right? Why do you exist? And you do not want to put yourself in that loophole of thinking about it too much. Just find something that you like to do, you think that's meaningful, and go for it.
Yes.
Honestly, there was a saying in Chinese, actually in Cantonese saying is like if you don't if a person do not pursue a dream, you're just like a dead dried fish.
Oh,
Which
cannot
is
be eaten.
interesting, a really interesting saying. I don't mean like you need to have a dream, and dream may not come to reality all the time, but purpose definitely, because you know what you're doing, and that would make a difference.
Yes, if I may borrow the idea of Simon Sinek, we all begin with why. It should begin with why. You know why you're doing things. But it's the daily grind that makes it exciting. It's the process, it's the journey that makes it more meaningful. On my first day at Variety, I have observed that you're one of the few, or one of the many, shall I say, who have welcomed me first with such so much warmth. You have approached me and told me, hey, let me know if there's something I can help you with to know more about variety. That is such a positive attitude. That is so encouraging. How do you maintain that kind of mindset and attitude, Kitty?
Oh, whenever you have a new colleague, do the same thing. But it's just like it's a people with people relationship, there is no need to cold shoulder anyone, especially if someone is new to your community, to a new place. I have been a new employee to Variety and to other places too. We've been working for so long, right? When we transit jobs, it just feels like the same when you were starting the first day of school. you're a little nervous, you're anxious about how your colleagues looks like, how your desk looks like, are your colleagues friendly, and all these other issues, right? And if you can just give like, and as a person you're familiar with your organization, and why not just reaching out and say hello? I mean,
Yeah.
like we all need to show a little bit of warmth to
Yes.
um to other people. And like in a city like Vancouver that has so many people right now, is the growth of population. And all these people are new immigrants. They are new to Canada, new to Vancouver as well. Showing them a little bit of warmth would make a difference, because you never know how much they have struggled in the past before they come to a new country.
That is true. And that is very kind of you to say so. Kitty, you are a fundraiser and you have been with Variety for 30 months, but I'm sure you have done so many other things. But can you share with us one of your experiences that have been so rewarding that made you say, this is it for me. I will continue doing this because this makes a difference. Tell me one of those rewarding stories.
Absolutely. Well, the biggest moment in my life when I was like a fundraiser so far is my journey with one of the international organizations that support kids um, in developing countries to acquire literacy skills and gender equality in education. I've been in that organization for almost 4 years, and I just happened to have one experience to visit one of these countries, and that is in Vietnam,
Mhm.
and to really witness what's um, the charitable work looks like from this organization. I visited their library. We had one of the major donors who built up that library,
Yeah,
and bringing in the community of all the children who just have no access to schooling, to learning, and they now can get to this library and start picking up colorful books in their home mother tongue language, and
mm,
also in the words, like in really colorful pictures. They are children books. They are not travel books from a random foreign visitor, like, because books is just so rare in these developing countries. And
yeah,
you just see like a bunch of students gathering in these libraries, and they get so excited, pulling out every single pages of the book and start reading and learning and picking up vocabularies. It's just a very amazing moment. And honestly, I have no idea what they're talking about because it's in Vietnamese and I don't understand that language. But you can see that joy and excitement. And just imagine that, like, if this donor didn't invest this
yeah,
money to a library in that community, all these kids just never get that opportunity to go to school
yeah,
and learn. So I just feel really rewarding at that moment. It's like, wow, you just don't know how much that impact can go for
yeah,
your everyday work. It actually can bring such a long journey and impact so many people. And like that library is not just impacting a group of students, it will be going forward for 10, 20 years, right?
yeah,
So
for sure.
um, that was the moment that I feel like, wow, this tells me the purpose of the work that I do.
Yeah,
And I should continue doing similar things that can help other people.
yeah. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about Kitty. What inspires you to get up every morning? What makes you, hey, I gotta get up, I gotta go to work, I gotta do this? What inspires you?
Well, on top of the paycheck, I guess it's just like just knowing that what exactly you are doing. It's like, as a fundraiser, it's a very fun job. It's not like, I know a lot of people may have the perspective of, hey, is that really hard? I don't feel comfortable asking for money, right? But like, if you think of the other way around, whatever ask that you make, you will actually helping the people in need to advocate themselves because they don't they they are the one who actually receiving the gift, right? It's really hard for them to open their mouth and advocate for themselves. You are basically a guardian angel to do so because you are telling people that hey, there is need right there. If you want to do something for your own, like on top of for your own good or
Yeah.
just help the community, this is where it is. Like get some spotlight and look at this, right? So I would think it in this way.
Let's go back to you. Just you, Kitty.
Okay.
Not work. What makes you smile? What makes you laugh?
Oh my God. Don't you find it laughing and smiling looks better? You
Yeah.
look beautiful, regardless how you look like, but giving that smile, like it just make people more cheerful, happy, and it's contagious. Like when you smile, people will smile back at you.
Yeah.
It's a mirror effect, right? So why not smile? Why would you
Correct.
want to cry or show a grumpy face?
Yeah.
People
Unless you're acting.
mirror that.
Okay. Kitty, what is your motto? I saw in your biography earlier, you have three that are so interesting. I would like you to talk about it. Number one, you said, life is a story. Make yours the bestseller.
You know what? This saying was shared when I was first admitted in SFU on my first day, and I remember that was an orientation. I was like a teenage girl, 18 years old. Well, beautiful age back then. And yeah, one of the advisors, the student advisors, were on the stage, and he shared this motto with us and just like encouraging us to make the best out of our university journey. And I would definitely like encourage everybody to do the same when you're in university because that's where all your opportunities start off. Knowing about your passion, knowing about what you like or dislike, and try out everything and then you would know, you would find your purpose, you would know where you want to go. So after I hear that motto or that saying, I'm like, okay, since I have my parents, I would say not me, but my parents have been paying so much for the university admissions, for all the students' fee, for all this course fee. Why don't I just make out of it? So I just happen to attend all kinds of seminars, introductions, and going like faculty after faculty, room after room, and knowing what kind of services the university support or provide to students. And I guarantee you, you will be surprised and amazed of how much resources all these higher educations has to support a child to become an adult to
Yeah.
getting ready to for the workforce. And I would totally encourage all the students to grasp those opportunities.
Yeah, that's great. Your second and third motto say, life doesn't always turn out the way you plan. And the third is, tomorrow is another day.
They are actually from two of my favorite movies. And when I'm in some of my downtimes, I just have to remind myself of all these thoughts, and I will just rewatch these movies again and again. So life doesn't always turn out the way you planned. It's from a love story called While You Were Sleeping,
Hmm.
and what like I don't want to go into details of the
Yeah.
plot, check that out, but I feel like this is always the case, right? Like if you plan, like my parents planned and want me to become an accountant, and with my rebellious attitude, I pop up and I just like, nope, I'm not doing that in my year two. And all this planning doesn't work out anymore. And I choose to do something that's called communications. And my mom starts scratching her head. It's like, why communications? You don't know how to communicate or you don't know how to talk. What do you Why do you do that to yourself? But like with all these milestones and twists and turns, like in your younger days, you are able to control what you want to be. But as you grow older, there are lots of things that is really out of your control. There are things like you thought you would be able to do it in somewhat like in this way in plan A, it would just go to a very different path.
Yeah.
And then until a certain age, when you just sit down and you think back, it's like, what if I take the role not taken? What if I become an accountant? How's my life looks like,
Yeah.
right? And all these thoughts would just come back in mind. So I think like it wraps up to my third motto, which is tomorrow is another day. Don't think too much. Like if you're in down times, you are start questioning yourself why you're not taking the road not taken before.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is another day. Doesn't matter. At that moment when you are thinking that this is the right decision and you go for it, no regrets because that's already the best decision you made. There's
That is
no point for you to think back and put yourself into depression or resentment. It doesn't worth it.
That is true. We are all work in progress. What's important is we know what we want to do, we know which direction we want to take, and we know that life doesn't always turn up the way we want it, but what's important is what's inside. We do not allow the outer circumstances to dictate how we feel or how we should react.
I
Thank
totally agree.
yeah. Thank you so much, Kitty, for your time and for sharing your story with us. It is inspiring and always encouraging. You are always encouraging. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoy every moment in live expression and being interviewed by my lovely colleague Sherry, and it's always a pleasure chatting with you and working with you as well.
Same here, Kitty. Thank you. And please, if you like this interview, share it with your friends or subscribe to Life Expressions here on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. I'm your host, Chari Hineti Elon, and my guest is Kitty Au. This is Life Expressions.